Thank you, everyone, for joining. It's great to see. I recognize a lot of names that have supported us in the past and have joined our webinars. It's good to see you guys again. We really appreciate you being here and supporting us. So, as most of you know, we've been running the Ask MNLCT webinars for quite some time now. We started this as an initiative um, due to the COVID pandemic that everyone was facing, and we thought, what a better way to connect with our partners and clients than to do it through webinars. So the purpose of these series are for our clients, for people we engage with, our partner organizations to ask any questions. Also, this is a forum, a discussion. So we welcome any ideas that you may have that we can all learn from. Today's session is about coping with stress. We have our mental health team with us today, and they've launched their they have a lights program. For most of you, or for some of you who don't know what the lights program is about, lights actually stands for language instruction giving hope to trauma survivors. We devised this program. It's quite unique in that it's an alternative language program that we put together that provides functional English as a second language alternative to vulnerable newcomers who experience emotional, cognitive, or academic barriers to learning your traditional English classes. So it's proven to be quite successful, where we have clients that barely know how to speak English, and they've been facing a lot of issues. And we marry both of those together, where our team of specialists help them out on their journey. And it's not something that you see them once and that's it, bye-bye. It's an ongoing relationship on many fronts. So again, I want to introduce our panelists for this afternoon. Judith Herrera has been with our center for a long time, and she has over 15 years of experience in mental health and counseling, with a great knowledge. She also speaks Spanish, so this, as always, we support all our webinars in Mandarin, in Arabic, and Spanish as well. Obviously, we're speaking in English. So, and if any of you today have any questions in any of those languages, please feel free to address those languages in the address your questions, sorry, in the chat room, or you can raise your hand, and we'll be more than happy to call on you and give you the floor. And just for that, I've just uploaded on the screen. You can see that in your own language. So I prefer if you type in your questions in the Q&A box. It's on the right-hand side there in the Zoom, or you can raise your hand and I will unmute and give you the floor. So we do want to hear from you, so please go ahead and ask us any question you want. In the meantime, Judith, good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us today. If you want to say a couple of words in Spanish.
Yes, okay. First of all, good afternoon to you all. Buenas tardes a todos. Gracias por participar en este webinar. Y como dijo Miles, si tienen alguna pregunta, hay abajo hay un sector de preguntas para hacerlo en español o levantar la mano si quieren participar. So if you want to participate, there is a box underneath, Q&A box, or either raise your hand and you will be open the microphone to ask a question, and we will do our best to answer it if it is within our knowledge. You have Miles, you have your microphone off.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Sorry. So thank you, Judith, for that. Also on the team is Lama. Lama is also a part of the Lights team. She's been working over 9 years as a language instructor. She also speaks Arabic. So go ahead, Lama.
Hello, everybody. بالعربي. اسمي لما وأنا مدرسة إنجليزي ببرنامج لايتس. برحب فيكم معنا اليوم. إذا عندكم أي أسئلة بليز اكتبوها بالشات Q&A. وإذا بتحبوا إنكم تسألونا أسئلتكم بصوتكم ارفعوا إيدكم في إشارة هلا ورجاكم إياها مايلز. وإحنا بنكون سعيدين إذا جاوبتوا.
Thank you, Lama. And Veronica is also part of our Lights team. She has over 15 years of experience in social projects, family, individual couples, and children's therapy. And she's also a counselor, and she's mainly she's involved in art therapy. So we will highlight some of those initiatives that we do today. Welcome onto our new episode, Veronica. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today.
And Veronica also speaks Spanish, so if there's any
Yes.
questions in Spanish, she can also handle those. Let me start by asking you, Judith. I want to start with you about the topic at hand today, coping with stress. I know, well, we all know for a fact this year hasn't been easy with COVID-19. And what's your experience this year with the clients that have been coming to our center and taking the Lights program? Have you seen a surge in that? Have you seen more traumas, more victims? Tell us a little bit about that, please.
Okay, yes. Well, yes, you're right. This year has been particularly exceptional, meaning under special circumstances, so that we all have to deal with, mainly stress. And yes, we have been seeing a rise of participants who are willing to be part of the Lights program due to the fact that they have been survivors of trauma, meaning that they have some difficulties concentrating and memorizing some new vocabulary, but they also know how important and how key it is to learn English here as part of settling in a new culture and adjusting to this new setting. So this new initiative, well, it's been going on for almost 3 years now, but it has been quite a success. I have to say and share it with you. And as I said, yes, it's true. We all have to deal with stress, but it's the way that everyone will be responding to a stress in a different way, depending on personality, depending on what coping skills we all have, and also demographics. And we as the agency, we have been seeing clients who experience this kind of issues for a long time. So that hasn't been a difference. But of course, this uncertainty that pandemic brings adds a new layer to the already existing symptoms they might have, right? So any difficulties that people have had before, the uncertainty that we all are now experiencing adds to the already existing symptoms. So they have been magnified in a way. I don't know if that responds to your question, but.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think so the unique part of this program is that you are dealing with people who are, with traumatic experiences.
Yeah.
But what makes it even more challenging for newcomers that come to the Lights program is that they don't speak English that well, and that makes their case even harder. I know. So Lama, I want you to give us, tell us how difficult is it? How challenging is it to basically reach out to people that can't even communicate in the language that they're supposed to while they're experiencing such traumas?
Okay, so if I understood it well, like from our approach, from our side, like how easy it is to approach them?
Yeah, I mean, how do you connect with them, basically?
Okay, at the beginning, I thought it would be hard but to be frank, it isn't, because people are willing to learn, and we encourage them to communicate with all means, like not only with language, but also with their body language, with facial expressions. Like what we do is encourage them to not ever feel stuck. And people are smart, and they have a lot of tools to use. They have their cell phones. They already know one language, right? They can use it to communicate with us. We find a way to understand it if it's not one language that we already know. We use Google Translate when when we need to. If somebody has an idea and needs to communicate it, they can also use some drawings to express what they have. So I don't find it hard to communicate with anybody. Like everyone finds a way that suits them.
So the program is 3 months, right?
Mhm.
I think. So
Yes.
for 3 months, and it's open to people with or clients that are from level 0 to 3.
Mhm.
If you have to test that in
Correct.
link.
Yes.
So that's very elementary. So
Mhm.
after that, after they're done with the program, after it's over, what happens next? Like, are they at a point where they're comfortable now to speak English? Is it survival English? What do they do next? Or do they take more courses? What happens with the majority of clients?
So as you mentioned before, it's like 3 months, but we meet them only once a week for 3 hours. So the total is 36 hours divided between English and art therapy. So to be frank, it will not be like a significant change, or like they will not promote from one level to the other. But what we work on mostly is to boost their confidence and self-esteem, to equip them with as much vocabulary and ready to use phrases that they can use immediately, like during the course, and teach them some tools that they can use later to improve their language, to learn more vocabulary. And also we help them or guide them to find resources where they can learn more. So basically at the end of the program, they are more ready to learn. They're more willing to learn and to use the language. So I guess this is the point where we want them to be.
Yeah,
So-
as Lama was mentioning, we provide functional English, and on top of that, Veronica and myself try to reduce the stress they are experiencing by not knowing the language, and then coping stress, giving them some tools like focusing on the breathing and the senses to mitigate the stress and the emotions that are on the rise, so they have their minds ready to learn. Does it make any sense?
Yes, no, I wanted to bring Veronica into the conversation because Veronica works on the therapeutic side of things, right? But she has some tools that, whether it's meditation, I think, breathing exercises, and art. Tell us a little bit about that.
therapy.
How does that help art therapy? How does that help? What do you do exactly? Let's start with that.
Yeah, so usually in the beginning of our sessions, we practice a deep breathing technique in order to help our students to keep calm. And also we use meditation, art therapy. So they express how they feel through the art. So one of the tools that I use is the mandala. It's something like this. Like this one is a mandala.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to pick a color, and every color is different feeling and emotion. So it's the way that they can express how they feel. For example, yellow can be happy, red, angry, blue, sad. So it's a very good tool for the art therapy to help them to express their feelings.
I think we have a slideshow at some point, Lama. We can share that. But and before that, I want to before we show you that slideshow from Veronica's and Lama's class, I think, that you put together of students. I just want to ask, going back to what you were saying, Judith, the whole idea of stress, right? And the clients that we see, do they come? Is it their journey in Canada that makes them stressful, or are the clients that come to us, is their situation based on traumatic events and sufferings that they encountered before their arrival here, and they didn't have anyone to help them or alleviate their pain, or what situations are we dealing with? You have to unmute.
Well, yes. Well, the symptoms they present are multidimensional, meaning it doesn't have one cause, it's multiple causes that adds layer to the symptoms. So it's, of course, it has to do with past stories, past traumas that they have experienced in the past. And on top of that, the journey of immigration and adjusting to this new culture is also sometimes a traumatic experience, and the uncertainty of sometimes experiencing about their immigration status. And they carry these unresolved issues. So yes, at some point they say, okay, I need some professional help, and that's how they ask for an intake. Okay, and we, of course, in the intake, if they have some issues with the language, that's when we share the idea of this LIGHTS program, so they can be participants of these 12 sessions where they can, learn, and also, as Lama said, be ready to have an ongoing learning process, because they know, and we know, that 12 sessions will not make miracles, but we will help them be on the right mindset to not be that scared or that frightened, or not, and increase their self-confidence.
Absolutely. I mean, the situation applies to almost any newcomer, I guess, right? I mean, the struggles are similar. From what we were talking the other day, we're discussing about this, that the struggles are like, it could be anything from language barriers, employment opportunities, finding shelter, housing, access to local services, transportation, the weather, you have the culture, you have raising children in schools, and the list goes on, right? And then, obviously there's some prejudice. Some people feel prejudice, isolation.
Yeah, now the factor of this pandemic that we all need to be aware that we can prevent some serious damage with the mental health, like being able, because the fact that we are already isolated because we need to social distance from other people, we need to work on how can we improve and being connected somehow, via Zoom, through phones, whatever we have at hand to keep us connected, because social connection is healing, right? So we need to point that out to them, that we have some things that are under our control that we can still do to feel better, even under these circumstances, right? Like going back to the basics, like Veronica said, breathing, physical exercise, nutrition. So all those factors are very key and essentials, especially during these times. Okay, that we can still do things to feel better.
Let's talk a little bit about stress management for a second, because we have actually one of our participants, Arshi, who just asked, I know, Lama, you answered him in the chat room, but I think it's very important to bring this to light. The question is, stress management is it for a specific population, or is it for everyone? And how, I guess the question here is, how do you deal with stress management according to what you're suffering? Is it like one formula for any type of stress, or does it vary?
There are some common points that can apply to everyone, but then depending on every individual situation, like let's say if someone already presents some mental health symptoms, they should be continuing whatever support they were receiving. So it depends on each person, but there are some similar skills that they can work on, right? Like I mentioned, movement and breathing, that's basic. We can all do that. And I include myself because I'm human and I'm also in this pandemic. So we are all together in this. And the good news is that we already survived, I don't know how many months already. So we are already applying some skills to navigate this uncertainty.
Absolutely. We have a question. Deepak, he's just raised his hand. Deepak, we just give you the floor. Welcome today.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. I just wanted to add something from my experience as an ESL teacher and a psychotherapist for Chechen refugees in Toronto. I learned that when I would use popular music and popular like movies to teach them English, that was so much more helpful than just sitting with pen and paper. And a lot of them were refugees. So a lot of them had a lot of trauma. And sitting with a pen and a paper and writing in a language that they did not know was so much harder than for them to sing a Beyonce song, for example, or to sing, you know, Uptown Girl or something of that sort. And it was just, I think that sort of music therapy that sort of also tied into with the goals of learning English, and that to colloquial English. I think that sort of helped me a lot more with my clients. And I just wanted to add that I was using the Pimsleur method of teaching languages through psychodrama. And I don't know if that is something that interests any one of you. So I just thought at that point.
Probably, yeah, no, thanks for that. And Lama, I think Lama would have probably had some experience with that, the language element.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Tibak, for your addition. Like, it's very true. Like, if you learn the language through, you know, an activity that you enjoy, you will surely learn better. And we do encourage them to do that. Like, I always tell the students to find the best activity that they like and learn English through it, whether it's like songs, movies, even the news, whatever they like to do, and to look for vocabulary related to things around them. Because yeah, we've all been, you know, learning through the books and you know, writing and reading, but it's not enough. If you live in the country, if it's like learning a language of another country, it might be okay. But if you live in the country, you need, you know, language that can help you every day when you go to the supermarket, when you go to the doctor, when you take the bus. So you need to get more engaged and find activities that will help you learn this kind of vocabulary and phrases.
I want to, yeah, no, absolutely. I want to just take a quick break, not a break, but I want to do a quick poll, launch a quick poll here just to see how many of us here are familiar with this sort of topic of dealing with stress and coping with stress. So I'm just going to launch a quick, it's a multiple choice answer. So you'll see it at your screen. Just there's 5 questions, and you just choose whatever answer you feel. So we'll just give that a couple of minutes, half a minute there, a minute or so. And
Just adding to what Deepak and Lama were discussing about songs and lyrics, I don't remember actually, but I know there are many lyrics apps, and we provide those lyrics apps to the participants. So the ones who are very interested and lean toward music can find that as a resource to enhance their English knowledge. Yes, so
Yeah.
you're right.
While we're taking the poll, I'll let that flow. And I just want to invite Derek to, he has a question. Derek, go ahead. You just have to unmute. Hi, Derek. Just if you can click the unmute button.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So I'm finding it very interesting about the trauma supports that are specific to newcomers. And I think I heard that, is there a particular therapeutic approach, or is it just general, as we've heard so far?
I'll let the experts answer. Judith?
I think we need more details. Like, I'm not sure if I got your question right. So you're saying if this program Lights is only for some kind of survivor's trauma? No, it's open to every survivor's trauma. Yeah.
That makes sense. Thank you.
No problem.
If I can add something here, like our participants are not only trauma survivors. Any person who's having difficulty in ESL or link classes, like they're doing their best and they're not really reaching the achievement they want to, can also join. Anybody who's facing educational, emotional, or cognitive barriers to learning can join us, because many people don't really have did not suffer from trauma, but still were had a disconnected history of learning, like they've been to school maybe 10-20 years ago the last time. So when they have to go back to a link school, they find it really difficult to be in a classroom or to have to do tests or homework. So these people are also welcome.
Yeah, it's, some of these answers to the polls are coming through. It's quite interesting to see, and you'll be happy to know that, Lama, as well, that we have a question: do you think your feelings could affect your ability to learn? And it seems that most of the answers there, about 96%, answered yes. So it goes to show that people are aware of these conditions that we face in society and how it can affect us. And now the thing is, how do you deal with it? So for people who cannot take this program, or people who are facing stress in general, what advice do you have for them? What sort of, how can we help people in general that maybe they're not so comfortable with meeting with counselors? I'm sure there are quite a few who you've encountered in that sense. Veronica, I know you, because you deal with, use different therapies to sort of connect with people who are not comfortable of sharing their experiences. What do you do in a case like that?
Yeah, so something important is, avoid alcohol and drugs, obviously, when you feel in that way. Eat healthy, try to sleep at least 7 hours at night. Focus on the positive thoughts and the positive things that you have in your life. You can practice gratitude journal. That is a very good tool. The deep breathing techniques, mindfulness, meditation, and take care of yourself. Do things that make you feel happy.
Are people open to that though, when you first approach them? Or are they too stressed? Like someone who's like, I know you deal with cases as extreme as sexual abuse, people are victims of sexual abuse, or victims who have, traumatized to whatever. I mean, there's so many different cases. how easy is it to tell them, hey, here's a technique, let's breathe in, breathe out, and you should be fine?
Well, it depends the way that we create the empathy with your client, you know, but most of the time they are open. Most of them, when they look for a therapy, they are open to practice
Yeah,
this.
Isabel was, just to touch on that, Isabel was, we have a question from Isabel. She's saying it's very interesting what we're doing. And are we assessing the outcomes of the program? So I guess to translate this is, what's the success rate? Judith, Veronica.
Yes, I'm answering, but in fact, I'm not, well, three of us can answer, but there is a survey at the end of the 12 sessions where the participants rate not only the English content, but also the emotional support they have received and how many coping mechanisms they get from the program. So, and yes, and I understand they have been on the good side. And also, I think Veronica does that, like a follow up. So we know that most of them either want to have a second time with us, or they continue an ESL regular class.
I see.
Yes. And also I wanted to clarify that what Lama said about the trauma, it's the concept, it's the broad concept that we are the one that we think about. It's not the event itself to be traumatic, but how someone maybe feels overwhelmed by the event. So it doesn't have to be a big event, a traumatic one, but either an event can impact a person in a different way. So it depends on the person. So for someone, something that might seem not relevant to other person might be cost trauma for that person. I don't know if I'm clear, but if that person's capacity to cope with the trauma is not good enough at that moment, can be overwhelming, and that's traumatic. That originates trauma. So that's the concept we deal with.
Yeah, we have two questions coming in, and I'm going to give them the floor, Tina and Charette, in a second. But looking at the poll, I'm about to end it in a minute. But I want to just highlight something that's quite struck my attention here. It seems roughly around 50% of the people here today, the participants who answered the poll, are at the moment experiencing. Well, the question was, do you think that a bad event or experience from the past is affecting your life now? And almost 50% responded yes. So there's 50%, almost half of our attendees today probably want to reach out or need help in one way or another. Where shall they go? What shall they do?
Yeah, so when they focus on usually when we focus on the past, we feel depressed. And when we focus on the future, we feel anxious. So the most important thing is focus on the present moment, here and now. And for that, they can practice a mindfulness techniques that maybe the breathing techniques. Also, they can use the grounding technique with the 5 sense. There is 5 things that you can see at that moment in the place that you are, 4 things that you can hear, 3 things that you can touch, 2 things that you can hear, and 1 thing that you can taste. So this technique, these two help you to back to the present moment, here and now, knowing the memories in the past and knowing the worries for the future.
If we can do maybe a 5-minute session with you for towards the end of the webinar, that would be great, Veronica.
Yes, of course.
All of us, I know I would need it as well. Tina, I've just given the floor to Tina. She has a question. Tina, can you go ahead, please?
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for.
We cannot hear you well.
to
We can't hear you too well. I don't know if your mic, is your mic close? Can we come closer to your microphone?
is it okay now? Is it okay now?
It's a little bit faint.
Unfortunately, what should I do? As I have question like what kind of mindfulness technique that we can, especially during this kind of time, for ourselves to keep ourselves in healthy situation. May I just what kind of technique for mindfulness can be useful for us at this time?
I think yeah, I think what I heard, Tina, thank you for that. If you have, you can always ask a question also online in case we didn't get through the chat room or the Q&A, just in case we missed that. But I think, Veronica, that's something more for you. It's what kind of mindfulness technique can she practice during this time? I think you were just talking about that in a second.
Yes.
A few minutes ago.
But
But
also they can practice the deep breathing techniques. So breathing for your nose 4 seconds, hold 4 seconds, and breathe out 6 for your mouth for 2 minutes. Is one tool that we can practice. Is recommendable every day.
Okay.
And it's part of the mindfulness, right? Because we focus on the present moment. All your attention is in your breath.
Very good.
Well, Quentin is asking a question in the Q&A room. How can we measure our stress level? How do you measure it? How do you know if you're stressed or not?
Wow.
That's a good question because a lot of us don't know we're stressed.
Yes, you can always be aware of your physical sensations. So, and also the magnitude of those physical sensations, let's say stress. In each person, like there are general signs that can tell us that we are stressed. Let's say heart palpitations, sweating, cold hands, tingling, shaking, those kind of things can tell us that we are very stressed. Also, if we have difficulties sleeping or eating pattern modified, so and difficulty concentrating, so there are many signs that we can say, okay, there is something, there is an alarm system that goes on, and we should be aware and say, okay, we need to be doing something about this, right? To break the vicious cycle of letting them increase.
Yeah, and also a headache.
Yes, many more.
Specific headache when it's behind your eye is because the muscle become very tiny of your shoulder. Is because you are under stress. And for that is a technique, the muscle relaxation technique, that is very easy to practice. You have to tense the muscles for 5 seconds and relieve. Tense the muscles in your back for 5 seconds and relieve. And all your parts of your body.
Absolutely. I want to share some of those stories through the art therapy. I think, Lama, you have a presentation for us ready. Can we show that?
You are mute. You are mute, Lama. Mute. You are mute, Lama. Your microphone.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, I have some pictures to share here, and I guess like Veronica can help me explain more, but this is just a view of our classroom. And as you can see, it doesn't look a lot like a classroom. It looks more like an inviting living room where we want the participants to feel very welcome and safe and stress-free. I guess now you will see, okay, these are some of the techniques we use for English learning, like mind maps and flashcards. But I will move to the art therapy part where Veronica can, explain more about it.
Yeah, so this one is a art therapy activity. Before, draw how you feel when you have to speak English. We do a small meditation because it's very important to contact with that feeling. And this one is for one of our clients. So she was from Colombia, and she has a lot of good ideas about her profession, but she's unable to speak. If you see in the drawing, she doesn't have a mouth.
Veronica, it might be really helpful to tell, you know, how she's doing now.
Yeah, so now she find a job when she finished lights, and yeah, so she's happy and she's more successful.
That's quite impressive. It looks like you know, she's got some great skills there, artistic skills that she could build on.
Mhm.
What's this one about?
This is another activity that is they have to express in which part of the body they feel that emotion. Like, for example, sad, happy, stress. So they identify in which part of the body is that feeling with different colors. Mhm. This one is a Play-Doh. Also, we use a Play-Doh. Oh, this is I forget the name of this one. Is clay. Mhm. Also, with the clay, they express a very happy memory. So they express to the clay the happy memory. They put color in it, and they write about that. Oh, this is a mindfulness activity that we focus on our breath. Oh, this one is a gratitude rock. So we use this activity in order to cultivate the grateful in the students.
Yeah, all these activities cultivate, you know, the awareness of the physical sensations and the emotions. And you know, it's an invitation for them to connect with the emotions and the physical sensations.
I really like this activity because it's like they have to imagine that their mind is a garden. So they have to put the seed in the garden. So for example, this student, she put happiness, prosperity, family, God, abundance, protection, freedom. So they have to cultivate that seed. And every day say, I'm happy. Thank you for my family. I have love. I am freedom. And it's part of the mindset.
I want to ask you, there's a few more. I want to ask you a question. Do a lot of the clients who join the program, do they display anger? Are they angry? Or is it more they feel like they're suppressed, inner suppression?
A few of them, angry. In my experience, I don't know in your experience, Judith.
No, more frustrated. Sometimes they don't. At the beginning, they are reluctant to participate because they are very ashamed of their skills. So they are a bit. They say, I'm not ready. I cannot do this. But Lama encourage them to participate in any way they can. So, and we make sure they know there is no mark, they're not going to be tests, no evaluations. So that decreases a lot of stress, and they can enjoy it more, right? Because no competition.
I'm looking at this page, like the grounding techniques that you're just sharing. I hear, I taste, I smell, I see, all the senses. And obviously the artwork that they're doing, the Play-Doh, it's all expressionism. So what you're basically doing is transforming, you're channeling that anger or, you know, that trauma into something creative to explore. They're going inwards and bringing it out into something. I guess it's fantastic, beautiful.
And offer them some safe space to share that with us, and without judgment.
I think it's important for every single person once in a while to revisit themselves, right?
Exactly.
All of us, especially like we're all living in this pandemic. There's a lot of fear. Some people lost their friends, their families. Unfortunately, people lost lives. There is a fear factor. There is tension, inner tension, um, and coping with it is people cope differently, right? So I think these type of exercises are good for anyone to do. To revisit, ask what they want from life, from experiences, who they really are. Um, and I think communication is the key here, right? When you join a program like this, you're talking, you're bringing all that out to your with your colleagues, and you're discussing it with counselors like yourselves. So it's quite interesting.
I've read a couple of questions that I think we haven't answered yet. One asked if this program is online, and yes, now we do it via Zoom. So yes, it's provided via online, just for anyone who wants to join.
When is the next session?
Who's eligible. Lama wrote it there next January.
Yeah.
Because
January 21.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems because we it looks like a few people are interested in joining the program, or I know some people are from partner agencies or other organizations that they may have clients who would like to recommend. So we'll put our details. They can always contact us. If Lama, you can put in the chat room an email they can get in touch with. So if anyone needs to know someone who needs to.
Yeah, there is an intake interview to be done at the beginning before the classes begin. So there is always, yes, if you put the contact information at the end.
We have Charles was asking a question. I know Ling Ling, you answered him. Thank you for that. He says he has a Spanish. He has a client who needs to work on her language skills. Her first language is Spanish. What resources are available to her? So actually, Ling Ling, I'll give you the floor to that, because you work in our settlement team. If you want to tell us, as MNLCT has a few programs like the LINK program that we also offer to language. Ling Ling, if you.
Hi. Yeah. So her question is, she or he has a client who needs to work on her language skills. Her first language is Spanish. Yes. So if the client needs to improve her English, we do have the language program LINK, and we also provide the online language instruction now, and also, like for the Lights program, they are, provide the mental health support through the language instruction. This is also another kind of like programs for improve the language. And also we do have some conversation groups sometimes, and also we do have the group sessions sometimes. They do have the settlement topics, but also it's very simple and easy to follow. It's another way for your client to improve the language, as well as getting more settlement information.
Yeah, thank you for Ling. And there's they're now also available online, the LINK classes, and there's different levels, right? So we have 3 different classes simultaneously. So depending on the level you are at, you can be placed in that. I want to give the floor to Archie. If you can speak. Archie's been apparently works in has written some articles about managing stress relief, and I want to thank you for the advice you've been giving here as well. If you have a moment, we'd love to. We can give you the floor, and you can give us some of your insights. Archie, can you hear us?
Yes.
Go ahead. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you so much. You seem to be quite active on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And your articles are quite interesting, and case in point there about managing stress. Can you tell us a little bit about your experiences in that field?
Yes, of course. Basically, I've been writing article, I think, since lockdown, and I felt that there is a huge need in the community. Like what I found, like many people are like suffering from stress, depression, and anxiety, and they are unable to cope because it was all lockdown. They were just staying at home, or there is nothing to do with that. So I came up with the idea: why not educate the community? So I started writing at the time, and it was quite famous in the community. People started like reading that thingy, and they gave me a response for that. For example, um, in my article for lockdown fatigue, I mentioned like how to cope with the physical fatigue or mental fatigue. There are so many ways to like you can manage your stress. For example, you can engage in any kind of physical activity. For example, in this way, like you can do walk, exercise, cleaning, washing dishes, playing games, cooking, baking, and you can do deep breathing kind of stuff. And you can find some meaning and the purpose in your life, because at that time, like it was locked down, and were uh, people were not able to cope properly, and it was like the first time in their life to stay at home. So I come up with so many ideas, for example, fulfill your dreams and hobbies, or learn something new kind of stuff. And I mentioned so many things over there, and start living in the present, family time kind of stuff I mentioned. So
That is
uh,
amazing, Archie. No,
yeah,
thank you so much for sharing that, and thanks for
thank
putting all
you.
those links. We definitely would. I think people will benefit from that. Keep it rolling,
Oh, thank you.
as they say. And we would like to connect with you. I think Judith, Veronica, and Lama would love to connect with you afterwards as well, whenever you have the time to talk more about this. Um, Farheen asked a question, which is, and it's about the graph that we had up, the chart, Lama. How does taste and smell help us to help someone? I don't know.
Where does it say? Where does it?
So the
Oh,
chart
there's
that
a
we had,
question.
the chart that we had up, I feel, I taste, I smell. So how does taste and smells, the sense of taste and smell, help you to help someone?
Okay, like I'm not the counselor here. I guess Veronica and Judith are more experienced talking about this. But as a teacher, I feel that whenever the learning process involves like whole brain activity, where all the senses are involved, the learners learn better and faster, and they are more engaged and willing to participate. But on the therapeutic side, I guess Veronica and Judith can explain better.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Judith.
No. Just yes, it shows how disconnected we are, mainly focused on our thoughts. So going back to our senses help us again, like Veronica say, come back to the present moment. Because if you connect with your senses, let's say smelling, I enjoy doing smelling lavender, that brings me to earth. Any fragrance that makes you connect with the present and not being too much in our minds and thoughts, that's how it helps us. So any activity that we can use our senses, that's why Play-Doh, the way Veronica uses it, painting as well, and visual, or songs like the other participant was mentioning, they all contribute for us to be more grounded and learning and ready to learn, and be the parasympathetic nervous system is more activated when we do all that, more calm, at ease.
Also, like, they say certain olfactory like nerves, like if you smell something, it can be nostalgic, right? It reminds you of something. Obviously you want to go the calming route, but I guess in therapy sometimes you need to revisit that trauma in terms to heal it, from what I've heard. But yeah, I want to give Veronica the chance to demonstrate what she had planned today. If we can take maybe a few minutes, and we can do a meditative session. In the meantime, I want to launch. I'm going to share the poll that all of you helped in answering those questions. Thank you very much. But in the meantime, Veronica, go ahead. It's all yours.
Okay, perfect. So please sit in a comfortable position. And you can put one of your hands in your heart. And we focus on your breath. We breathe in 4 seconds for our nose. We hold 4 seconds. And we breathe out 6 for our mouth. Once again, breathe in 4 seconds. Hold 4. Breathe out 6. All your attention now is in your breath. And every time when you breathe in, you feel more and more connected with yourself. Every time when you breathe out, you feel more and more relaxed. All your attention is here in this moment. So now mentally say, I am able to love. I am able to love. I am happy. I am happy. I deeply love myself. I deeply love myself. I deeply value myself. I deeply value myself. I deeply respect myself. I deeply respect myself. Even though I made mistakes in the past, I deeply love myself. Even though I take wrong decisions in the past, I deeply value myself. And every time when you breathe in, you feel more and more connected with yourself. And every time when you breathe out, you feel more and more relaxed. So this is one of the activities that you can practice every day, and it's part of the mindfulness. And say something positive to yourself. Even though I made mistakes in the past, I love myself, I accept myself, and I respect myself. Even though I take the wrong decisions, I love myself. And also, something else that you can practice every day is say, I have peace in my mind, peace on my thoughts, peace on my heart, peace on my soul. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for my peace.
Thank you very much, Veronica. That was very relaxing. If we can do that twice a day or so, I think we'll go to the moon in no time. It's quite important. But I want to thank all of you again for being here today, for sharing your thoughts. I know you have a lot to say and do. You're always very busy, and it's very easy to connect. We have actually one more question if we can, and we're almost out of time, but I want to Lourdes had raised her hand. Lourdes, you have the floor. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Hi, how are you? Welcome for this opportunity. Thank you so much. I want to mention that the program are fantastic. We connect with these activities very deep. And I want to say your team is amazing. I know it for a long time, and I'm happy to see here in this meeting today. And Veronica and Lama, that people that work with our group. And I myself, I can tell them I can talk better because I always scared about to speak in front, because I always say to me, I have some limitation, but Veronica support me to open that part of me. And now I start incorporate my English, and Lama have tons of passion. The tools that she always share with us are very simple and easy to use. And it's very important that confidence that we want in this program. Thank you so much for have this for open to the community, because as you say, it's not like you need to have a big trauma issue, right? Everybody that move from your back home to other, you have experiment some kind of trauma, right? Because you arrive, you don't know nobody, you don't have expectations, and doesn't matter, you come with work and everything ready, you always have the difficult to connect with other people. And that's what I want to say. Thank you so much for this program, and we are always so happy to support you.
Lourdes, thank you so much. So Lourdes, before you go, actually, it's interesting. I'm glad you raised your hand there. So when did you take the program?
We start last year before COVID, and then this program we stop until we start connecting for Zoom. And the ability that these ladies has to run fast to plug us in all this and share with us how to do it. And we are new, and it's hard for many because not everybody have phones or computers that support the Zoom, but we will try to encourage people to look, or somebody to help to download the app and things like that. But now it's more familiar for everybody, and yeah, they have tons of passions for us, right?
Thank you. You know, Lourdes, that it's great to always hear from someone who has gone through the program, and it looks like you've benefited a lot. And we thank you for being here today. I don't know if Lama or Judith has something to add.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Lumi for joining us. We are so proud of her. She's so active, and not only in the class, but in the community as well. It's always a pleasure to see the students, and we always keep following up with them. We are seeing a lot of success stories. And I want to thank you, Miles. Thank everybody here for having us today. It's been a pleasure, and I've shared our contact information in the chat. So if anybody would like to get in contact, whether individuals or organizations, they're all welcome.
No, thank you so much. Before everyone leaves, we have a couple of announcements to make. Well, first of all, the next CT episode will be on human trafficking. So it's going to be a very hot event, a hot topic to discuss with some great panelists. So mark your calendars. It's going to be on December 9th, on Wednesday at 1 p.m. And we have a big event coming up. This will be on November 21st. It's a fundraising event and it features members of our Hispanic community, or Latin American community. It's going to be like a festival, an online festival. Because of COVID, we all have to stay at home, but it's sort of a, we have musicians, we have artists, we have chefs and different activities. So it's like a mini concert, mini festival, but online. It kicks off at 6:30 and ends at 9 o'clock. So we welcome all of you to join. We will be sending out more details by email to all of you attended today. If you please, you're all invited. Ask your friends, your family members, and all the proceeds will go to, it's a fundraising event, so we'll go to a good cause at the end of the day to help newcomers and vulnerable individuals. Last words, Judith, Lama, Ling Ling, Veronica, thank you so much for your time today and for all your efforts. And we thank everyone again for joining. I'm just going to put, if anyone wants to connect with us, please feel free to contact us on the, you can see the numbers below, either at Key location, Victoria Park, or you can contact us by email at communications@mnlct.org. And this webinar will be recorded for anyone who wants to share it with anyone else. And there's other previous webinars at our Ask MNLCT webpage. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day, enjoy your week ahead, and hope to see you all again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.